Hey productive people, Vidas from Teamhood here. And I hope you're already into Teamhood and that's why you're watching this video, because the time has come to start reporting on your achievements, on your teamwork, and to show other people that you're championing it. Alright, so in this video, I want to boost your creativity and imagination by showing the best case, the use cases which are the most popular among our user base, so you can just figure out how and why you should do something from the reporting and metrics perspective. And I'll start by making a very important statement. The way you structure your data can influence a lot how you do reporting and what kind of reporting capabilities you get. And by structuring, I mean, how many workspaces do you use? Is it one single workspace for everything, or is it multiple workspaces? Then, do you really use tags to suggest what other different properties a task or a work item has? Do you use assignments and rows to structure things even further? So these questions can be answered easily, and these are the hints what you should think of before doing reporting. So let's try and look into what that means. I'm already using my single workspace environment where I have a project portfolio called Eastwind Incorporated. This is a company doing energy projects. You usually see it in my examples. And this company is doing all their projects in one workspace. And if we're doing only one workspace, then we will be speaking only about workspace reports, which are found in one workspace. The other option is to use Multiworkspace reports, which you can find in your homepage by just going there and looking at the report section. I will cover them a bit later, because now we should focus on the single workspace reporting. And the first thing that we will start to look into is dashboards. And dashboards is the neat way to create a fully customizable layout of important information. And usually what you will find among other best practices in Teamhood is that there are at least two ways how you can look at dashboards. Main or general dashboards, where you create one for the whole workspace, for the whole portfolio of things that you do inside the workspace. And it can focus on really specific nitty-gritty detail, like which items are already late and which items are due this week. So you can look at your plans and look at what you missed last week. You can also aggregate different numeric values, like how much budget do you have allocated per the whole portfolio and how much has been already completed. You can create various progress ring charts just to symbolize where you're at on the grand scale. Now, it's very useful on the grand scale, but if you want more detailed dashboarding, usually what we see that people love to create one dashboard per project. If you run small projects, might not be the best case, but if you do medium to big projects, this is the way to go. For smaller projects, it could be even easier to just do reporting on the board level, because there's not much that you want to report apart. Is it finished or not? What's the status? What's the progress of the subtasks or child tasks as we call them? And maybe look into some specific numeric metrics. And this can be achieved easily with list view or Gantt view, which has this Excel sheet-like thing in the graphical interface. And in here I already have my budgets, I have my track time being calculated. It has nice grand totals per row, so here comes the grouping by row as a very handy thing. If I group my projects by specific type, later I can see grand totals for the specific type of projects. This is why I want that. And I have also created already a numeric field which is called rate, and this is how much we charge per each hour of project work. Yeah, it's a bit expensive, I know, but it's just an example. And then I use that rate inside a formula to calculate how many hours, based on how many hours I've spent and my rate, what is the total cost. This is very useful to see, and then it can be useful further to calculate profitability on project basis. So if it's a small project, if one project is a single item on Teamhood board, I can calculate profitability on each project level by just creating a net profitability formula, means subtracting the cost from the budget, or I can create the ratio profitability, like dividing the budget by actual cost, and I'll see whether we're ahead or behind the budget. So having said that, let's go back to the dashboards. And in dashboards, very important part is how well do you use tags. Tags give you full flexibility to slice and dice the data the way you want. And by that I mean, imagine you have simple thing. Not all project work that you do is billable. And this means that some of the hours you track on your projects or some of the tasks that you complete are not billable. These are not like directly impacting your business. But of course, they're very important operational tasks, but they are supportive, not impacting direct invoicing to the customers. So imagine you create a tag which is called billable, and then you just tag items which are billable. This way, in your dashboards, you will always be able to select it as a filter and save it and see only what billable work has been done. Very useful, right? And tags are superior to row structuring or user assignment in one way, because you can have more than one tag assigned to a single item. This is a very important difference. And then it means that you can slice information in multiple angles for the same item. We should go to the workload report, which is super useful. It's probably one of the most favorite reports among our user base when it comes to resource planning and both human resources and machinery resources. With humans, easy because we do have a thing called assignee, and every person who is working inside Teamhood has a user, and it means they will be able to see their own workload and their teammates' workload on this report. And they will use it to plan ahead. They will use it to understand when they can accept new project work, and also people will use it to understand whether they need more resources. Are current resources overloaded? You can model a lot of cool things in here, as well as machinery resourcing, because users, fine, what if we use tags as machinery, right? I can tag each item, what type of machinery it requires, and for in this example, type 89 is a specific machinery that I use in my projects, and I can just look at it through workload lens. Right? I can see how many hours are allocated. Of course, machinery doesn't work shifts maybe in my company. It can work like 24/7, but it just shows how many hours allocated. And I know upfront when is the next best week to start new projects because this machinery will be required. Cool, right? Now, the last part about workload grouping is I can have multi-level grouping where when I do project planning, I might not know who is the exact person that will work on specific task, right? But I add a tag that this project task will require assembly technician. So it's a tag. Under that tag, there can be more than one person who are actual assembly technicians. So when I plan, I just use tags and I will see how much of assembly technician resource I need across my project list. But when I go into execution or closer to execution, I can use this two-level grouping and I can see, oh, okay, so I have Jake, Elvis, and Vidas among assembly technicians. And I can simply see which one is available at the earliest date. Or I can simply give them new tasks and figure out what are the other tasks that I can share with other technicians. So this two-level grouping can give you that benefit. Again, as you see, tags are playing an essential role in here. Now, I covered a bit of like small project and medium project reporting. What if you use board as a project which is medium to large projects? And this is the way, like the standard way where we see people are using big projects. It's very convenient. One project, one board. We have a portfolio overview report, which is like really high level. It just tells you on the board level, what's the start finish, what's the total budget, what's the progress of all the tasks inside the project. It also gives you a bit advanced metrics such as schedule performance indicator and earned value. Schedule performance indicator, it gives you understanding whether you're ahead of your project schedule or behind. It takes what is the current date, what has been planned progress on this specific date, and where you are actually. What's the actual progress? This way it calculates the schedule performance index. Then there's earned value management technique, which is used to calculate how much actual value has been created in this project based on the budget allocations, on the planned budget. And it also uses the same schedule. It just looks on the project budget level. What's the planned budget to this date, and what's the actual budget that has been delivered on this date? If you don't use those, just configure, hide them, and keep your project overview simple. And the last part is you have these colors, so it's up to you how you use them. It could be this RAG, red, amber, green color coding idea, where yellow is like project is doing okay-ish, red, definitely at risk and doing not good, and then green, everything's fine, project on schedule and on budget. So these are just 3 colors. You can pick from more, and you will decide what you want out of it, right? And this is a high-level overview. If then you see that the project is not doing good, like Project Neptune in here, it's red, its progress is probably far away from what it should be, I can then have a dedicated dashboard which dives into details, and I can navigate to it and look into details. This is very well perceived strategy, where portfolio overview is the high-level aggregate, and then each project has a dedicated dashboard so we can dive into. It's just it can be a bit of work when you need to create everything on the first time, but once you use it, you will love it. Right? Having said that, let's go to the last part of project aspect related dashboarding, which is timesheets. Of course, in Teamhood, as you know, there's native time tracking, and the way you log the time in time tracking, it can then be used for various reporting use cases. In here, I also have already grouped by tag. So, for instance, if I'm working with multiple customers, maybe I want to see how much effort did we spend on specific customer. Or if it's machinery, how much time we use specific machinery. If it's people, I can use hourly rates of people to calculate actual cost. That's another feature in Teamhood. You can configure it in workspace settings. So each member of the workspace has an hourly rate. And then timesheet report will use that data and provide you with accurate cost calculation. And there are many grouping levels you can filter. Again, tags can come in handy. Remember that thing, billable, I mentioned? If I had at least few items tagged with billable, I would look only at things that matter. And then I could export this data to CSV and transfer it to either just spreadsheets or another system like accounting, and write an invoice to our customers straight from Teamhood. Very useful. The last part then of single workspace reporting is performance metrics. So I talked a lot about projects and project type work. Quite a significant user base in Teamhood is using Teamhood for product work or operations focused work, where team or department is delivering a function, either technical function, support function, marketing function, and they're more focused on continuous workflow. Are they getting better? Are they delivering on the commitment? Are they delivering their commitments? So this performance metrics report can give you understanding how efficient you are, how much time on average does it take for you to go from initial task creation to the delivery, or how much time on average it takes for you to finish something once you start working on it actually, not just put it in the planning section, but just start working right away. It does require configuring each board correctly, because in Teamhood, each status has 3 different types: new, in progress, and completed. So these types are instructions for this type of reporting to understand where work is just being parked and where work is actually being done and completed, of course. Then in these widgets, there is also one which can be very useful for project work yet. It's called items completed on time. And this is of course important when we want to answer a question. Are we good at meeting deadlines? How many items do we complete on average per month if they have deadlines? Do we complete them on time? Very useful and powerful. And then we usually keep only last 3 months and the current month to be displayed. We want to keep metrics simple. And the last one, really important for operations and support teams. How many new items arrive each month and how many items we complete each month. This is a very early signal. If each month there are more new items arriving, like in my example, than completed ones, we already have a problem. Because it just means our team's backlog is overflowing each month and we're not doing anything to minimize it. And eventually, each month increases a cost of prioritization, because I really hope that you still look even on old items and decide whether they still make sense or they should be deleted, right? So the more you have, the more expensive it becomes. Simple as that. Then the last part of single workspace reporting is pages. I just want to give you a hint, an idea how you can use pages for reporting as well. Each page is a shareable view. Same way as each report, you can share them, and even externally if you want, you can give it to your clients, give it to your third parties. Same way with page. I can create a page where I will manually capture some of the data, maybe attach a screenshot of a dashboard, or just write in this table what was the actual plan each month and how much we completed, color code a bit, and just give it away, give it as a shared page. This is also simple. It requires a bit of manual work, but it can work magic. It's like a real document. It's like a living document. You don't need to, again, export to PDF, send everybody an update. Oh, I made a mistake. This is a newer or newest PDF, you know, those type of titles in the files. No, it's always the latest. If you give a link, people open it, they see always the latest information. That's the power of a page. Or you can create pages under each project. So you can keep your data as close to the project as you like, and you can share it together with the project. Not an issue. So finishing with the single workspace reporting, let's dive in a bit into multi-workspace reporting. And this one, it's still the same reporting from the visual perspective. Now I'm showing you the most important one, which is workload, because workload becomes even more complicated when you run large project portfolios or multiple project portfolios, or your people are working in different functions a bit, like in matrix organization. This is super important to aggregate the data from all the workspaces, so you have a clear picture, a real picture of what is the load on people or machinery. So these reports have the same capabilities. You just filter where to take the data from by location. You have some layout settings, you have access, you can give access to other people so they can see the report. Again, people, if it's people you're looking into, it's very easy to filter a couple of them instead of getting everybody. If it's a big company, maybe you have hundreds or thousands of users in Teamhood. So this can become handy. And again, tags, super important. I'm emphasizing this once more. Just if you do tags correctly up front, this will be like 80% of the job done already, because tagging gives you the full power of customization and data slicing. And this way you will tailor a report. And the best part with reports is that you can create as many as you like of those, and you can fine-tune them to specific details. Like in here, I'm just interested in this specific machinery, single unit of machinery, and it's just single report in here. And I can switch between different reports very fast and very easy in Teamhood. The other type of multi-workspace workload is a list view. It sounds simple, but that has a lot of power. And what I have here as an example is I want to give feedback to maybe upper management, to my partners. What have we done last week? Teamhood captures timestamps, when was item completed, and you can use that data in the reporting. and say, okay, show me all items, maybe from specific portfolio, like in here, Eastwind Incorporated, and show me only the items that were completed last week. And it's a rolling thing, you don't need to reconfigure it, will always be last week. So it will display you all the items that have been completed. You can share it, you can use it as a again, real-time living report. And you can even put it on the dashboard in your office space. It will refresh automatically, and you will always feel the pulse of how are you progressing. Again, create as many of those as you like. Many options, what you want to filter and how you want to structure your reports. They can be as simple as that, or you can control which fields you want to display. Just play around and figure out what these reports can do. And then by having the idea what these reports can do, you will visualize how you achieve the final value, which is required for your line of business. So many things has been covered. There are many small nitty-gritty details of configuration of options, formulas, and everything else inside of the reports. But watch other videos, watch a video about data structuring, which can help you understand what are the different ways to create projects and service work inside Teamhood. For today, thank you and stay productive.